you that you received this financial support from UAL?
Yes, I did. It really helped with my final project. So basically what happened is that it was last year in March, I think March 2020, the coronavirus started. And no one really expected it. So just one day we were not allowed to go to the university anymore. And it was my final year. So we all had these huge plans for our final projects. And most of the times they were involving the university facilities, like print rooms and 3D printing and stuff. So it was very difficult to find out what to do now, since we can't go to the university anymore. We can't use those stuff. So we basically had to kind of rebrief our projects and just find a way to do it. So I was lucky enough that I got some help from university and from my parents. So I could set up really powerful computer that I need for my work at home.
Fantastic.
And just work from there. So I was really lucky in that way.
And so you obviously have to teach yourself some of these skills.
Yeah, for sure. So in this case, YouTube is amazing. And it is a lot of tutorials. And then also because of uni, we had access to Linda, or I think now it's LinkedIn Learning. So I had access to some courses from that as well. But also university still was doing some workshops online. So it wasn't that bad. Yeah, so it all worked out in the end. I could, university helped me to pay for all the software because technology is really expensive, actually. So in a normal situation, I would just go to school and they were computers which has those softwares on them. But in this way, I just had to, we just had to figure out the other way to do it.
Monika, that is just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And you're an inspiration to a whole heap of students who are going through similar stuff now.
Yeah, definitely. It's difficult. It's very difficult. Once again, I'm quite lucky that my practice is mostly digital. I print out stuff, but I can't imagine. I was talking with my friends, and in the situation when you are a printmaker and you can't access the studio, it's really hard. But it did make us more flexible as creatives and stronger, because we jumped from one technique which is more physical, like printmaking, to more digital techniques. So there are some benefits about this situation.
Well, I think those students are really smart, because I'm a printmaker. I don't think I could jump from printmaking to digital. Never. That would mean like me. You can make etchings on computers. I've seen them. Yeah, you can. I've seen them. Yeah, I've seen London Print Studio. There's a technique, and it is all digital, and it looks like a print, an etching. But I don't think I would have even figured that. I'd have to have a technician sitting next to me. So it's just the way you managed to do that. And it's great that you got all this financial support from UAL. I mean, that's why it's such a fantastic university. The 6 universities they have, they really do make a point in trying to make life easier for everybody from all around the world as well.
Definitely. That's true, because different students are in different situations. Of course, we're based in London. It's quite expensive to be based in London. So it's good that they do help.
And did you make a deliberate choice to leave Poland to come to England, to London?
Yes, I did. So I actually
Were you
came
19?
to study. Yeah, I was 19 or 18. And yeah, I don't know, it just seemed like I won't have the same possibilities back in Poland. So I decided to leave. And it was really good for me. I'm the first one in my family to leave our city, actually. So it was quite a big deal for my parents.
Well, that's really brave and exciting.
Yeah, and I've met a lot of amazing people here, and
incredible.
It looks like I'm gonna stay in London for a while.
Yeah, that is just absolutely, what a fantastic story. So your mum and dad are still in Poland?
Yeah, everyone's still in Poland.
Gosh, that is so brilliant, and they must be so proud of what you've achieved. And you must have got first class. I'm sure you got first class.
Yeah, I did.
You did.
But,
I can
yeah,
tell.
they are really proud. It's once again, coronavirus didn't help in this situation, because they would love to visit and stuff.
Yeah.
It made it impossible, but I'm sure soon they will come. So.
Yeah, and it's great you were able to share this to them, because when I was growing up, my mum and dad actually came to the printmaking department at Leeds Polytechnic. Nice. And so they saw the printer, they saw the machines. I remember my dad saying to me, "You use these big machines and they're so heavy," because I used to do quite a lot of lithography. And so he just, because he didn't know, because they came from uneducated background in India, and they never, they didn't quite know what art meant, or what they thought I was doing. I was going to be a teacher or something, art school teacher. And so like you, I got first class honours, because I was I'd leave the house at 9 o'clock and reach the department at 10 o'clock, and I was there till 9 o'clock in the evening, especially in the final year, because the final year it really matters. That's why you needed that support, didn't you? Because it was the final year.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's always so excited about final year, and everyone has big plans for the final projects and final year. So, and you work the most, I think, during the final year.
Well, you have to, don't you? Because you've got to have your dissertation, and then you've got to present that work, and it must be quite challenging, even for the students now, to not be able to have a physical. I mean, I know some students do have a physical space to exhibit their work, because I'm going to go see some openings of shows next month. And so, but I think when the coronavirus suddenly descended on you and came from totally unexpected, it must have thrown all of you and all of the whole department in what do we do now?
Yeah.
And like you told me earlier, you really needed that, because you lost your job.
Yeah,
you lost your part-time job because of the virus, so you were living on next to nothing. So
exactly. And a lot of people did, because what are part-time student jobs? It's mostly in retail, but all those places just closed down. So everyone needed help. How did coronavirus affect your practice?
Well, you see, I was very lucky, because I was invited to do the Covent Garden Commission 2 weeks before. Actually, you just get an email from the director of Tate inviting me, and then 3 weeks later we all knew about the virus. So I was quite lucky to continue, because, as you know, I've got a studio near Hackney, so I get a lift, because weren't you able to use public transport? So I used to come here every day, and I just focus on the Tate Britain Winter Commission, and because there were no distractions, it made me. I was in a position to work even harder. I mean, I had to work quite hard anyway, and so I was just here day in, day out. Probably used to leave around about 9 o'clock, because it's sometimes a bit quiet. There's nobody on the streets, so it's a bit scary. So my friend used to meet me and drop me off, and so and then straight after that I went into another commission called the White Tiger, and that was a Netflix commission. So I was really, really lucky. And I was very, very lucky because it was received really well. And I did bring a lot of joy to people, even though my career did rocket. But I think I made quite a lot of people happy. It brought a lot of hope. And I didn't make the commission so it appeared like it was made especially for COVID. But I did talk about the fact that we were going into darkness. We needed to come out at the end of this tunnel. So hence those words like shine light and dream and truth and remembering a brave new world. And because it opened for Diwali, which is like the Indian festival, the tape directors told me that it was going to open on the 11th, 12th, 13th. So that coincides with Diwali. So that's why it's usually for Christmas. So for me, it was Diwali. It opened for, you know, my the festival I grew up with. So that's why it was quite a success, because normally the mayor does something in Trafalgar Square. So he didn't do it last year. So everybody came to see Tate Britain on those dates, even though it was raining, but there was like 500 people there all the whole weekend. And it was constantly like that. So I think I have a lot of happiness, because I think a lot of people, you know, did feel, you know, in despair, or, you know, a bit desperate for also to see art. And I must have been the most luckiest artist on this planet to have something outside, you know. And even people from New York were saying, why haven't we got this in Times Square? You know, I got my friends from India phoning me up saying, congratulations, India are talking about you, and Brazil are talking about you, Croatia. It went right. It illuminated the world. It seemed to go like,
it was amazing. I've seen it as well. It was really good and really positive. And that's really important. It really did give hope to people.
But what I wanted to ask you more, because I'm seeing some flowers in the background of where you're sitting, I'd like you to tell me more about your project is called Future of Nature, and why you wanted to do 3D software, and could you tell me more about that? Because I'm fascinated and I'm very interested in nature.
Sure. So basically, what I do like 3D animation and 3D design. So it just involves me in front of my computer creating those images and videos. So like they're quite similar in style to what you see behind me right now. And it's a still from my final project called Flatland. And it was a collaborative project with my friend Marta Urbes. So we had a couple of different outcomes. We had animated video, which I've done. She's done this really nice typeface that's behind me.
Oh, wow.
And she's also done some Instagram filters too. So the whole idea was that we were kind of speculating on future, and we were thinking about how our future is gonna look like in case our access to nature will become more like constraints. So we're not able to access the nature anytime we want to. So we were kind of researching and thinking if the virtual kind of nature, virtual representations of nature could bring the same benefits to our mental health and well-being as the physical nature does at the moment. So we are reading a lot of books by James Lovelock, and he talks about how we are part of nature and we are not superior to other species. And yeah, I got really inspired by it. So I think I want to like base most of my practice researching our connection to nature and the benefits we can get from like accessing nature and being in nature, and also like what's going to happen with technology. Like, is there the way that both of these things, nature and technology, could kind of live in symbiosis together and therefore become stronger? And maybe is there like any possibility that technology will actually help us in the climate crisis right now? So we were trying to like show this more like utopian future in which technology lives with nature together and makes it stronger instead of like destroying it, basically.
I've got a sense of the colour that you use. My favourite colour, purple in the background. It's just
yeah, I use it quite a lot. I do.
So cool. And so you must are there lots of students who come to you for advice, in the final students now?
Yeah, actually I did get some messages on Instagram. So that's the funny thing about the virtual final show we had, that okay, maybe it wasn't physical, but it kind of made our work easier to find online, because it did work in some way, because I did get quite a lot of people reaching out to me and wanting to talk about my work, or like future students of UAL just asking me if I like the course and stuff like this. So yeah, I had some people messaging me, and mostly it's in case of like some technical aspects as well, like how do you do that, what software do you need to use, and stuff like this. So yeah, I'm happy to share always those stuff.
That's just so fantastic. Yeah, technology is moving so fast in the visual art world. You've got galleries moving into the digital world, having digital exhibitions, 3D digital exhibitions, and even the big top commercial galleries are going down that road. I think that's the future. I'm not saying that there won't be physical exhibitions, but I think that's the way where the world's going, and I think it's really exciting, because I think it's great that the visual art world and the commercial art world are moving in those directions, because that's where we are now, and they have to embrace it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so of course it wasn't good at the beginning. We were very disappointed about not having the show, as you would expect, because like we were excited about having industry people coming to the show and being able to talk to them face to face and make connections, but those things couldn't happen. And so then we had a virtual show. We had two of them actually. So one was my course specific. So it was done just by my course and just with the students, with the tutors of my course. And another one was a big one for all UAL students. And yeah, they were both different in a way that for ours, we had our own website. For UAL, we were kind of mixed with all the students together. But I think they were both quite successful. Like I got some attention and some messages from people after those. And it was quite fun preparing our show. Even though it was online, we had still like groups as we would. So they were people working on the website. They were people, I think I've done a show reel for our course. So like put all of people's work together so it looks nice as a video. They were people working on social media, so on Instagram, Twitter, and so on. So in some way we were like still connected and collaborating and working together. So it wasn't that bad, but it's always better to have a physical show, like even for me. And I'm like so in love with like different virtual experiences and VR and like technology and stuff. But like, even though I still think like it's important to have physical events, and we had the best, we got the best we could get in the situation. but yeah, definitely I'm looking forward to like have everything more normally, and I hope like students will get to have physical shows maybe next year. It's just one day you just sit in front of computer and you're like, oh, my show is now, like, or oh, I just graduated. But it's like, you know, it's not what you would expect from those moments. Like, we didn't get to have the ceremony, we didn't have to put on the gowns, we don't have pictures. It was all like from our living room, and it was all just like quite an eventful moment, just in front of computer, just being like, oh, and that just got happened. That's it. Like, I'm done now. And yeah, it wasn't like, it's of course like not that much of an important problem, I think. Like, we still had amazing chorus, did the work, had exhibition, had attention, like all was good. I just think like if it's possible, like we should definitely not exchange virtual events and activities, I mean physical activities and events to virtual ones. We should definitely like still organize virtual physical shows as well.
I hope so for you too.
Yeah.
You deserve it. You deserve it so much. You've worked so hard, and you've really taken it. It's been very challenging for you, and you've really taken it by the horns, you know, and thought, okay, I'm going to do something with this, and I'm going to make it work, and I'm going to do the best work I can. I think you're an inspiration for so many of us. I think you're absolutely fantastic. You've inspired me.
But so are like my friends from the course, like so many of us did similar things. Like if you look at the people who were like in my group and stuff, they all did like really good work. And yeah, we kind of managed to like go through this and still create a good quality of work. So yeah, it's been good for all of us in some way.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad, you know, all the support that you got from UAL has helped you, and you know, and hopefully more UAL students will receive financial support like, you know, you've received, and they listen to this and they can see how much it has assisted you.
Yeah,
I'm sure you were clever before, but it's just been an extra bonus which you've needed because you lost your job and stuff. In, you know, when in,
yeah,
you know,
it was an extra bonus in like the perfect timing, you know, like I needed it just then and they helped, so that was good.
Yeah, well, that's what UAL are like. They are honestly so concerned in being as helpful as me as an honorary doctorate of UAL. I like to think we can help the students as best as they can to get through quite a traumatic time that you all had to deal with and you're still dealing with. So I guess that's one of our jobs, is to make it as best as we can and listen to your story, because it's a story, isn't it, that you want to share with the whole world, and let people know how fantastic UAL is.